And when you're looking back and you've seen how far things have come, you literally have entire nations now exploring ways to mine Bitcoin. Does it finally feel like your early vision of decentralized sovereign money is really starting to materialize here?
Yes, I think the most important thing is, as I said before, at the beginning, the governments try to ban Bitcoin. I come from Hong Kong, next to China. China banned the Bitcoin mining, but the miners went out to other countries. So the thing is that you Bitcoin doesn't care. So you can ban it, you can attack it, and nobody. Bitcoin doesn't need the governments, doesn't need the companies, doesn't need us. We all need Bitcoin. The governments need Bitcoin. So there were a couple of panels that were discussing about nations trying to adopt Bitcoin reserves. There was a good panel with the Prince of Serbia, Philip, and also spoke the mayor of Lugano. Lugano, by the way, is a very Bitcoin friendly city. They are doing a lot for adoption. Probably you can, if you open the map, you can pay in Bitcoin in many places there in Lugano. So, and the mayor is super Bitcoiner. And there was a panel that they were discussing how can the countries try to buy Bitcoin and establish the reserves, and without using the taxpayers' money, so nobody can be against that. And one of the things that most of the people were talking is, why don't the countries mine Bitcoin? Because uh, most of the countries has access to energy, and some energy that is lost. I remember that they were talking about the thing in Canada, that a part of the energy is not used, and they have to sell in a loss to other countries, not to throw away, and they can use
Right.
this energy to mine Bitcoin and stack Bitcoin by themselves instead of selling this energy at loss. So I think that these speeches, again, they show how all the countries now are trying to look at Bitcoin as a way of store of value, and to make the countries more sovereign. And again, they are trying to think how to start stacking Bitcoin without, again, compromising the taxpayers, because most of the members of the parliament or the governments, they are going to start attacking the politicians that say, okay, we want to buy Bitcoin. And they're going to say, oh, you're going to buy Bitcoin because with the money, the taxpayers' money. And with this, with mining, they can mine with energy that otherwise is lost, and they can start stacking bitcoins and establishing a strategic reserve using their own resources. That's the point.
Yeah, we've come a long way. It went from banning it to now countries are considering mining it straight, themselves. And it kind of begs the question, Fernando, why do you think that the approach of earning it through production and mining it rather than purchase it could be such a game changer for national adoption?
But I think that the any ways that the countries can any way that the country can use to get Bitcoin, to stack Bitcoin, is a game changer. I think that, and again, it's a term of national security, or this game theory of which country moves first. And I think that the using the mining and the energy that is otherwise lost to turn into Bitcoin is a good way for the politicians that are pro Bitcoin to propose to their parliaments and to say, okay, we don't have excuse now. We don't have excuse to start doing a research. Now, it's similar what happens in America now. We spoke in our last meeting about the Bitcoin that they seize around 120,000 Bitcoin, and United States now doing this research with the asset that they are taking for illegal activities. So if I'm a politician and I want to introduce a Bitcoin law, I can say, okay, uh, I'm not going to touch the money of the tax. I will do with mining, with energy that otherwise is lost, or we have to sell in a loss. So there is no excuse if I propose that.
Right.
So I think that this can be a game changer also for countries and in the future for companies because they can use sources of energy that now are not being used because they are not um, profitable to use for the country, and they can use to store Bitcoin to generate Bitcoin and make money in the long run.
Yeah, it certainly seems like a better strategic use of surplus power rather than selling it for a loss. So it wouldn't be surprising if we did see, smaller nations start accumulating Bitcoin through mining. And if they were to do that, do you think that that's kind of the start to the rebalance of the global power dynamic, like especially against countries that are sitting on massive US dollar reserves or IMF debt? So like, what do you think will happen if these smaller countries start mining their own Bitcoin? Is that going to start restoring the global balance?
Of course, now we have Bhutan. We have the case of Bhutan that they are mining Bitcoin. They have been mining Bitcoin for a long time, and I don't know if in the position. I don't know which country is. I think that is one of the top 5 countries that have the most amount of Bitcoin by mining. And of course, if you do a Bitcoin reserve as a country, of course, not now, not in 2 years, not in 5 years, but probably in the future, you can say, okay, EMF, you cannot come to my country and tell us what to do. We have our own reserve. And again, as we saw, everything happened. At the beginning, people start stacking Bitcoin. Then the companies start stacking Bitcoin with strategy. Then the ETF. And we see a lot of people of the Wall Street money that used to be a critic of Bitcoin. They used to say, even Saylor used to say Bitcoin is a scam, Bitcoin is gonna die. And now he's the biggest promoter of Bitcoin. So I think that of course we are in the game. The first country that takes the advantage is gonna be the winner. And as Saylor said,
Right.
the one who gets more Bitcoin is gonna win this monopoly game. So as fast as you can start accumulating as a country, if you can do it with taxpayers' money or with uh, mining with energy that otherwise is lost, is a smart move. So that's my thought.
Yeah, no, the first mover advantage is very real, especially when it comes to the Bitcoin space. And you yourself have used the phrase monetary self-sovereignty before. Are we watching right now the first real-world examples of that, where nations are learning to secure their future wealth through computation instead of currency?
I don't think that we are. I think that we are in the prehistoric. There are some countries that they are start understanding what is going on. Again, El Salvador did the first move, Bhutan that is mining, now United States with Donald Trump and trying to impose this strategic Bitcoin reserve. But I think that we are even earlier than early for for what is happening with the countries. So
Yeah.
that's my point. There are, of course, in the future, more countries are going to be adopting. But for me, now we are earlier than early. So there is a lot of education to be done. We need to educate politicians. We need to make them understand because what's happening in Argentina, we have our president is libertarian. He's an Austrian economist, and he doesn't understand Bitcoin. So we need to do a lot of work. We need more of these conferences. We need more of politicians trying to, okay, checking what is going on, asking the people who really knows. We need more sailors that can be in this position of being the CEO of a listed company, talking about Bitcoin and with his talk, trying to convince other ones. And we need more leaders, more pro Bitcoin leaders that I think that are coming. In this conference, I saw, and I think we are going to talk later about Paolo Arduino, the CEO of Tether. Tether that in the past was also taken as like money for almost illegal, and now he has meetings with Donald Trump, and he's being consulted by many leaders with his doing. So we need more of this. We are, for the country level, we are earlier than early, but it's inevitable. Bitcoin is inevitable. So I don't know. I don't want to say yes, it's going to happen in 1 year or 2 years, but sooner or later it's going to happen.